Hi, I'm Eloise. I first got in touch with Dan when I was having trouble sleeping. So at the end of last year, I started to stop being able to sleep properly after sleeping fine my whole life. And all of a sudden, I developed a sort of anxiety around actually going to sleep. And I went to the doctors after about 6 weeks and was prescribed sleeping tablets, which I became quite dependent on very quickly. And then a friend recommended Dan to me. I had an initial consultation with him, which was about half an hour, and that was just to get an understanding of what the problem was, some symptoms of it, and try and understand a bit around why. And that was free, and that was really good just to talk to someone and to get an understanding of how he was going to help me. And it was a comfort to know that there was a resolution, because up until that point I think I'd accepted that I'm just never going to be able to sleep properly. At that point I think I'd accepted that I'm just never going to be able to sleep properly and that I'm going to have to need sleeping tablets to help me get there. But he gave me the reassurance that actually he can help me, and he'd helped others before me as well. So after that initial consultation, I booked a session with him, and it was a lot around what happens when I'm in that place at night when I can't sleep, and he encouraged me to talk about that in detail and gave me some techniques how to deal with certain thoughts, and for example breathing techniques were really helpful, and we had a really good first session. So that was about an hour, and then I went away, and I came out of that session actually looking forward to going to sleep for the first time in over 2 months. I actually looked forward to going to bed that night, whereas before I'd spent most afternoons starting to worry about going to sleep and telling myself I'm not going to be able to sleep. But I came out of that session saying to myself, yeah, you will be able to sleep. And he'd really helped. And just to get control of my mind, somewhere along the lines I'd lost that ability to control my mind and my thoughts, and then I came out of the session with him feeling really in control. And then I went back to him, I think it was a week later, for another session. And again, it was just building on the techniques that he'd given me in the first session and just developing those more, going into a bit more detail into some areas. And I must admit, it's kind of changed my life. So hypnotherapy is something I never thought I would need to consider, and I was a bit dubious to begin with. And I can't put my finger on exactly what Dan did to help me, but he gave me loads of these tools, really practical, nothing like really far-fetched. It was just really simple things, and they've had such a profound effect on my life. And I guess I'll always be thankful for Dan for the help that he has given to me, and I would highly recommend him to anyone.